If you're interested in learning how I launched Zim Excellence, then you're in luck. Sign up for my podcast workshop and learn how it's easier and more affordable than ever to start a podcast. Also, grab yourself a copy of my podcast resource guide, which covers industry terminology, suggested tech setup, in addition to countless free online resources to support your podcast journey. Just head to vongai.com/podcast creation. That's vongai.com/podcast creation. The link will also be down in the show notes. Now, let's start the show. Welcome back. I don't know about you, but I'm ready for part 2.
There's no limit now for us. There's
no limit.
There's no limit. And I was at a TED talk 3 years ago, the TEDx Houston, and they were speaking about the African child within the diaspora and how our forefathers or our mothers and our and parents have pushed the baton to a certain point. They've been abroad, they've done this. They've done their education, they've lived within those parameters, and they've left. And it's almost, we have been now given, it's like we're running the race. It's a relay, isn't it? We've been given the baton.
Yeah. And
our thing is to learn, but to bring that knowledge, if we can, back home at some point. We will touch base at some point if that's what we need to do. But we are taking it to the next level now. As I said, it's a renaissance.
Yeah.
It's a
I'm all
Zimbabwean
about
renaissance.
I really love that so much.
Yeah.
I think about this also in terms of women's empowerment and also racial justice work. I am a huge Elaine Welteroth fan. She's my big sis in my head. Yeah. I have met her. We took the selfie together. It's everything. My book is signed. I was at the book launch.
Yeah.
Anyway, I have a vision board, but next to my vision board, I have this other board that I covered with floral wrapping paper. And then I said to myself, do you know what? I want to be, it's kind of actually based on something in Elaine Welteroth's book. So she is biracial, and she had to do this school project where she showed her family, and she saw all the kids, had these magazines, and they were cutting out their white mothers and fathers and all of this. And she just was confused and felt out of place. So she went home, and then she had the project, and then her mom looked at it and she's like, what is this? And she's like, we're going to sit down. And then she calls her older brother over, come over. And then they're like, we're going to redo this homework together. She got a copy. The mom got a copy of Ebony, and then got another magazine, and found Black images to also put with her white father, and then stuck it above her bed so that she would have something to look at as representation. So based off of that story, and it's so funny because I actually sat next to Mama Welteroth during one of the events. I was like, hi, Mama Welteroth. How are you doing? Yeah, I love her so much. I love Elaine. Like I said, she's like my sister mentor in my head. Anyway, so based off of that story, I took one of my extra boards that I had, covered it with floral wrapping paper that I had left over, and went to Barnes and Noble and just got Essence and some hair magazines and some film magazines. And I was like, look, I'm going to find all the flyest Black women that I love and respect, and I'm just going to put them on this thing. So I cut out different photos, and Elaine was actually one of the magazines. I was meant to get it. So I cut out a photo of Elaine, and there was a quote in the magazine that I stuck up on top of her photo, and it said something along the lines of occupy all the spaces that were never meant for us, or something like that. Yeah, occupy, it's time for us to occupy all spaces. And I find, there's this whole debate about we shouldn't be looking for a seat at the table. We need to build our own tables. which again, awesome. Yes, let's build our own tables. But I also feel like it is important for us to also occupy all spaces and to we should do both as we're building our own companies and working up that equity. Also, we need that exposure, that global exposure that you get at those tables. So it reminded me about that. What do you wish more people were aware of when it comes to starting your own business? Especially because in the beginning, it can be super exciting, but then overwhelming because you're I got to do the bank account and pay the taxes and fill the right forms. And do I really want to do this?
I think people need to know that it's about the journey, not about the destination. I think people look at it and they're like, okay, I want to make money. Let me start a business. And it's like, no, darling, no.
I know those people. And there are people who come to me saying, you should do this. And I'm like, why are you telling me what to do?
Right.
Do you know how this works?
Right.
No? Okay, then sit down. Thank you for sharing. You can sit down.
Right. As someone who, I think people will do the market research, right? Because that's how you're supposed to start your business. You do the market research. You see what's the most lucrative, the most viable, the most, the thing that people will buy so you get your riches quickly and so forth. And having been someone who created something out of necessity and then turned it into a business, my whole mental with regards to that is completely different. And like I said, it's about having the patience and maybe it's not about instant gratification. It's a journey. There's the ups and downs, the highs, the lows. And it might not be that business that gives you the success that you crave. It could be one business that you create out of the character that is built from your previous experience. So it's about character building. I can't believe I'm actually saying this because my dad used to say this to me all the time. I think it is that thing where it's it's about the journey, and it's about the personal growth, especially if it's a business that aligns with integrity, aligns with the environment, and aligns with that's socially conscious.
Yeah,
it's about the little things that you're actually doing to change or even create a legacy that you're going to leave for your kids. So yeah, I wish people knew, like I said, it is about just the development of the person. Anyone can be successful. Anyone can have stuff in abundance. But if your heart is not right, if you're not, it's like what Lauryn Hill says: how you gonna win if you ain't right within?
How you gonna win if you ain't right within?
How you gonna win if you ain't right within? Who cares that you're driving latest Bentley? Who cares that you're in your mansion? Who cares? You can be even more lonely at the top. But if your integrity is right, if your standing is right, if your sense of community is straight, your sense of maybe even giving back as a business is right, then that's what is more important. And if the business fails, you can set up another one because your character is built to just keep going. You get up, you fall, you dust yourself off, and you keep going,
You make me think of Cardi B for some reason. That first track on her album. She's like, fall down once, then I get up 10 or whatever she says.
But that's what it's about. You constantly, that phoenix is constantly rising out of the ashes, getting burnt, and you're like, fall down
I think of the butterfly.
Right.
Yeah, people think of the butterfly, but it's actually the caterpillar, and it's the caterpillar in the cocoon.
Right.
You just can't pull the caterpillar out of the cocoon yet. It has to stay there, and it breaks out. And it's that metamorphosis process is similar to both birth and death, which is why it's life is a cycle, because that act of birth is beautiful, but it's also chaotic and filled with pain, and I don't know what other descriptors to use. And then death is almost as a parallel to that, if that makes sense. So it's all a cycle.
But through pain, through pain is where you find your light, right? Through pain is where so there's this thing about, I'll give you this. Caterpillar was cocooned and turning into a butterfly. I think a little boy went and helped it break out of its cocoon, and the caterpillar died before it became a butterfly. So unless you go through that pain by yourself, that metamorphosis by yourself, sometimes you can't then spread your wings and fly as high as you need to. So, but it's through pain, it's through the experience of pain that you find your gifts, that you find your light, that you rise up. I'll give myself as an example. My pain was having a child screaming and scratching and not falling asleep because of her eczema. And me being at my wit's end, half asleep, thinking, what am I going to do? How am I going to, you almost feel like a failure. You're like, I made you, but you're in so much pain. Her skin got leathery at some point. It got pigmented, and her legs were her legs were the worst place. So it's like, how do I take your pain away? I don't know what to do, but through that pain, and almost through prayer and sort of saying, I don't know what to do. And, those silent prayers of, please go to bed. God, please, I'm so tired. It came Silkebee, right? And for me, through the dancing and stuff like that, through the pain of what was a breakup for me and the separation and so forth, and that came with the healing of my inner child and connecting back to dance and actually claiming that I am a dancer. Yes, fine, I didn't go to dancing school. I didn't go to LaGuardia.
Yeah.
I would have loved it.
She said LaGuardia, y'all.
I did not go to LaGuardia.
You're making me put on my New York accent that makes my actual New York friends laugh. They're like, you're hilarious.
I didn't go to the National Ballet.
Fame.
I did, right.
To the Fame School. To RADA.
I did not.
To Lambda.
I didn't do my school was, ballet class, in junior school, which I quit because I used to get so tired. I stopped that. And it was the clubs and it was the parties. That was my school. But it was through reconnecting, because I was in pain at the time, that I could then release that pent up emotions and just channel those emotions into creativity and almost transmute that. Use that energy into a positive. So
would you say, sorry.
Yeah, no, go ahead. Yeah.
Would you say that dance for you is self-care? And is that one of, like, maybe one of the many tools or rituals that you use to help you keep going when times are hard and you feel like giving up?
Ultimately.
Are there any other tools or rituals?
That is the go-to. I always feel lighter because you have those days where you feel the tension in your back, you feel the tension on your shoulders, and, work has been difficult. Pop on some music and just get lost in the creativity. I almost go into, I guess, a bit of a trance. I don't know if you see my videos on my
I have seen them.
Insta, and I look back at them sometimes and I'm like, gosh, you were not in this world. You were like, the eyes are just like dead, and I'm like staring straight at the camera and just doing what I have to do, because out of that is my release and my pay and my peace and my exhale.
Today is a great day to start your own podcast. Whether you have a message you want to share with the world, or you think, ooh, it could be fun to have my own talk show like Vongai, getting started is easier than ever. Here at Zim Excellence, we use Buzzsprout, which is hands down the easiest, most affordable, and best way to launch, promote, and track your podcast. Start for free and list your show on directories like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and more within minutes. Podcasting isn't hard when you have the right partners, and the team at Buzzsprout is passionate about helping and teaching you to succeed. Just check out their YouTube videos. They are filled with tons of information. So join over 100,000 podcasters already using Buzzsprout to get their message out to the world. Sign up today using the link in the show notes, or go to vongai.com/podcast creation, and you'll get a $20 credit if you sign up for a paid plan. It also helps support the show. So go ahead, sign up for Buzzsprout, and keep me posted on your new podcast. Now back to the show.
Yeah, because in that moment, you're connecting your breath and your body and your mind, like gets still and quietens for a bit. So like you're in your body in that moment, like you have to be in that moment. So it's a really great way to process emotions, especially negative ones, because you don't want to be bottling up these emotions or just like forgetting about them, because it makes them like just want to burst, and it just makes them like almost become worse. Like this idea of like killing your ego or like silencing your ego, it makes your ego louder. So what you want to do is somehow like make peace with your ego. I always say nurture yourself, be a mother to yourself, because the ego is actually also formed at 7 years old, the same time as the subconscious mind, and we're learning about the world. So if you're like, okay, I understand that you're scared because of XYZ, but here is proof that it's going to be okay, or like, just trust me, it's going to be okay. And I've learned in my 16-week course that stuff like shaking and moving is, like you said, stuff that's very intuitive to us, natural to us. It's ingrained within our DNA from just different generations. It's a really good way energetically to just transmute emotions and vibrationally to just increase and uplift your frequency and your vibration. So I feel like I said, I'm not a dancer like you with your choreography and your pop locking. I'm just that, oh, this is my jam. That's me.
That's how it starts. That is how it starts.
But I would say moving and music is definitely my first love, saved me during this pandemic, because I had to make sure that it was like actually, before this pandemic, it was always kind of part of my morning routine, especially when getting ready for an audition. To me, it's like, oh, I created this scenario in my head, like, I get to go to a 1-day only performance that these people are never going to see again unless they book me. So I'd be in the shower and I'd be playing like Alicia Keys or Beyonce or Mariah Carey, because I like to sing along. She's my godmother in my head. I'm a Christmas baby, and that's a whole other story, and that's a whole other episode, so we won't get into it today. But like, I would always put on that music, and it would make me feel really good. And then I'm like putting on clothes that make me feel happy, and then doing kind of my makeup and being like, cool, I'm ready for my scene, for this audition. And then I would like head to, because this is pre-COVID times, head to the audition place, and while waiting for the subway, I'd be like dancing to my music, getting me pumped, kind of like pre-gaming, like before you go out dancing with your friends. So I would do that, and then I'd be listening to music in the waiting room as everyone's being super serious and actory and nervous and all the things. I'm that person in the audition room who's like, you're gonna be amazing, it's great, and everyone like, who are you? Like, sometimes I would have people being like, you're really nice, what's your name, I want to follow you on Instagram. Anyway, so music was always like, it just always got me in the zone. It made me look forward to auditions, because it meant, oh, I'm gonna put on my 70s playlist, because in my head I'm a disco dancer. I would have been the flyest disco dancer out in the 70s. So it made me look forward to auditions. And then during the pandemic, I'm at home because Broadway shut down. Hollywood shut down. My job, which involved talking to audiences about Broadway shows, which meant being around people, shut down. So suddenly I'm like, who am I? What is my purpose? Am I still an actor if I do not act? Am I this? So, I put a lot of artists into like a kind of existential funk, and a lot of stuff with like financial uncertainty to do with livelihood. Governments weren't so quick to help out artists, surprisingly, even though everyone's at home watching Netflix and reading books and looking at pictures. And all these streamers were suddenly like, okay, we need to talk to all the writers in town because we're going to run out of content because we're not doing anything right now. So during the pandemic, I had to make myself have almost daily dance parties. And I find like one of my go-to albums has been Beyonce's Homecoming Live. It just like gets me in the mood, in the zone. And it also helps set the tone for the day. That it's like, look, we're going for Black excellence, we're going for greatness, we're going for this, So dance in that aspect really, dance and music really saved me during this pandemic. Otherwise, I would have been going down a very deep, dark place because, like, as you know, mental health is on the rise because everyone just had to be indoors and had, like, there was so much uncertainty of the future and just so many different things upended, whether it's like work or not being able to see your loved ones or family. So dance helped me in that way.
I think mental health even before the pandemic. So now it's completely heightened, definitely.
Yeah.
So, and music and movement are healing and great for mental health. For me, it wasn't even a pandemic that got me to a point where I'm putting myself out there and popping myself on Instagram and just dancing and just, popping the camera on. And I remember a few friends actually did think at the time that I'd gone crazy because they're like, what is this? It's me. It's the real me. It's not the one that you're comfortable with, the one that will sit there and be like, oh, well, yeah. This is the real me, and hear me roar.
I think we should take this moment to pat ourselves on the back for just being so honest with ourselves during this time. Because even though people are getting vaccinated and there's like this transition into a new normal, we are still in a pandemic. And we should also thank our bodies for still being here. Because it takes a lot, like seeing those figures and just having all these changes a lot on the mind and the body. I have one last question and then we can go directly into our lightning round. Okay, you ready for it?
Okay.
What advice would you have for someone listening right now who might be thinking, like, I want to do what Nyasha does. She's amazing. She's so inspiring, but I'm not quite sure where to start. Would you have any resources, whether they're courses, organizations, books, or websites that you can recommend, even if it's just local to the United Kingdom?
In terms of just with regards to actually starting up natural skincare, there's quite a few courses out there. If you look on YouTube, I think there's a School of Natural Skincare on there. There's a lot that have popped up. I don't know all their names, but literally just Google natural skincare course and, and loads of stuff comes up.
Yeah.
One thing that I think that definitely helped me as a new business was an organization called Enterprise Nation. And they run every January, they run business startup seminars and a business startup event. And they used to do them pre-pandemic in Canary Wharf, and they'll take over the whole of like the HSBC building, and it will just be like different floors of resources for new businesses. So you'd go there, banks would, business bank accounts and marketing, production, whatever else, whatever information you needed to know, whatever industry you're in. But then they also, as the year progresses, do different things for different industries. So they'll do like a wellness seminar, they'll do a beauty seminar. And at some point they would help people introduce people to other markets, because as you know, the UK market is completely saturated. It's only a small island, so everyone
that makes sense.
Yeah. So they do I think just the UK in general do advise that you branch out, because you might not make your money just in the UK alone because of the fact that it's so saturated. So Enterprise Nation is brilliant. So one thing that I was told when I first started the business was, okay, great, you've got your business, but you need to build your personal brand. Who are you? And I didn't get that. I'm like, well, who needs to know who I am? They've got eczema, right? The children have got eczema. Just buy the product. It is what it is. But it is true in terms of actually building my character. I guess, like I said, that's where the dance comes from. Sort of starting to working in asset development and mentorship and leadership and getting all these different opportunities have that's all come through developing my personal brand. And that's creating different networks to then collaborate my actual brand that's there, but other opportunities to branch out, to pivot, to get to know. The way that I found you was through, finding a seminar online, wasn't it? It was Forbes, wasn't
Forbes
it?
Women in Africa, the International Women's Day event. Yeah.
Right. So look out for seminars. Look out on Eventbrite. Look for mentorship. look for business mentorship. People who are already doing what you're doing, who are building their characters for being entrepreneurial, because, you know, a lot of people don't have that support within their families, you know.
Yeah.
My parents were not necessarily entrepreneurs. They were 9-to-5ers or whatever else. So you might not have that support with your friends and family when you're like, oh, I want to start a business. You might not get that. Well done. This is great. This is what you won't get it. But if you surround yourself, as you say, you're the total sum of the 5 people that you know. If you surround yourself by people who speak,
that is my quote. When I learned this quote, who was this? Was it Jim Rohn who said this? Like, because I'm obsessed with like Tony Robbins and self-development, which is why I'm so drawn to you. And we possibly read all the books. But when I first heard that quote, I literally spread it like gospel, like the way Oprah was handing out the color purple on the bridge. I was like, everyone, this quote, it's going to change your life. And I was like, where did you learn this? I'm like, it's important. And I took that quote and I kind of turned it into a joke. I'm like, so if I'm the average of the 5 people that I spend time with, who is keeping me away from my money? Like, I turned it into a whole joke, but it's true.
No, it's true.
It's true. It's someone keeping me away from my money. I gotta change that.
Gotta change it. And
it doesn't mean like cutting someone off. It just means kind of you should never be the smartest person in the room.
I was just gonna say that.
Yes, girl. This is what we vibing. We sisters. Like,
you see how I was trying to interrupt and get in there. I was like, and you're like, and then you said it. I was like, oh man, I wanted to say it. It's cool. You got me. It's
so,
cool.
Regarding books, what books would you recommend? Not necessarily do with skincare, but that self-development mindset. Like the first 3 that come to your mind.
You know, how you gonna win if you aim right within. Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now. That is just about mindfulness and about how you've got to be right to be able to get on with life and to pour in to anything else other than yourself. So Eckhart Tolle speaks about the power of now and being in the present moment. So not thinking backwards, because that can cause depression, and not always forward facing and thinking and planning your future, because that can cause anxiety, but finding your peace in what is happening now.
Ooh, I hate to cut in, but Osho has this quote about not looking into the past, because then you're not physically here. Yeah. You're stuck there.
Yeah.
And because you're not physically then in the present, that's determining your future.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa. And then Deepak Chopra has something about like, you must start the thing in the present, because then the present becomes the future. Like, I forget what it was, but I was like, oh, you and I are literally same wavelength. So the other 2 books.
Everyone communicates, few connect, and it's John Maxwell.
Nice. Yeah, my mom has a couple John Maxwell books.
Yeah. And the last one, see, business is about you more than anything. Anything Brene Brown does, I love. So I'll recommend Daring Greatly.
Ooh, I love that. I actually have not read it. It's been on my list forever, and I don't know why I haven't gotten onto it yet, but I love her as a speaker. Like, I watched her TED Talk, a couple of her YouTube things, and then she had that special on Netflix, which was so good, and I'm subscribed to her podcast. I'm pretty sad because now she's moved to Spotify, which is going to force me to go to Spotify. But like, I am like, why do you do this? Yeah, I don't want to do it. But yeah, I also follow her on Instagram. She is amazing. So I would definitely recommend her podcast, and 2 other podcasts that I would recommend, which are actually like, I've taken them as inspiration for molding and shaping and I guess envisioning what the show is. The first one is like my favorite of all time, The School of Greatness by Lewis Howes. And he's actually written 2 books. One is The School of Greatness. The other is The Mask of Masculinity. So man, go cop that book. And the second one is sponsored by Netflix's Strong Black Lead, and it's called Strong Black Legends. Tracy sits down with Black people we just grew up watching in these amazing films who've paved the way for us. And at the end of the episode, she gives flowers to just a Black thing, which is hilarious. And she starts the podcast by being like, so you know how your mom was always like, what you know about this thing? Well, I'm going to be like, what you know about Tay Diggs? And then go into the... So those 2 podcasts. One, if you're just looking for inspiration, Lewis Howes to me is spiritual bae, and he interviews the greatest and most successful people in the world, from people who've worked in the Secret Service to Olympians and business people and people in the social media space and self-help space. And when it comes to spirituality, he talks to a range of people. He even spoke to Pastor Sarah Jakes, who's like my pastor in my head. Like, I absolutely love her. And he sat down with her, and also Lavi Ajayi. So he's great if you're looking for inspiration. And then Strong Black Leads, if you're an actor, an artist, or if you're just curious about how some of these great Black talents got their start in the industry, just listening to that podcast is really great. It's definitely a celebration of Black excellence. Hence, I want mine to be a celebration of Zim excellence.
Well, I follow Strong Back Lead on Instagram, yeah. So I'll look out for Strong Back Legends. I love that.
Yeah,
especially
you would love that.
Delving into the Tay Diggs and stuff, all those old movies that I used to watch back in,
Yeah, like people you think of as your mama and your aunties in your head, and your uncles and your daddies and your baby daddies.
Baby daddy.
Yes. Like, what's his name? Who am I thinking of? I saw him in a play, and Blair Underwood. I saw him in a play, and he came on, and he was like buttoning his shirt, and all the women in the Broadway theater were like, and I was like, I was like, Kenny Leon, who's the director, I'm like, Kenny, you put that in there for a moment, didn't you? Yeah.
Oh yes, watched many Blair Underwood movies, and just like with my mouth and jaw to the floor, just yes.
Yeah, very, very yummy and chocolate.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you ready for our lightning round?
As ready as I'll ever be.
What is your zodiac sign?
Sagittarius. There's my sign. I said it's Sag. I'm a star. Sheriff badge.
That is a Nicki Minaj quote. I know my music. I know my lyrics. I love it. I'm a Capricorn. The only song that Capricorn is in is the Beyonce one where she's like, Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces, Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer,
everyone else.
Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Oh my gosh, my cheeks hurt, Nyasha. Why are you doing? Okay. Next question. Last song you listened to?
Joe, where you at?
So last book you read?
Okay. The last one I read is literally How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Yes, Dale Carnegie. I'm currently reading Get Good with Money by Tiffany. I forget her last name. She goes by the Budgetnista on Instagram. Yeah.
Budgetnista. Okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to get good with my money.
It needs to be done. Live under your below your means until you make it.
Favorite holiday?
Mauritius.
Oh, that is lovely. I forget holidays, vacation. I actually meant like Christmas, but I'm like, it's Mauritius. Let's forget about these seasonal ones. Talk to me about Mauritius, girl.
Yes, I went to Mauritius, but I went to Mauritius back in the day, and I loved it. It was just swam with dolphins, and I think it just encompassed all the things that I love doing. Quad biking. Being a Sagittarian, I'm quite adventurous anyway.
You're wherever the wind blows. I'm well versed in astrology. Like, it freaks people out. Like,
it
so
really
like
does.
I can't go on dates because it accidentally comes out. I don't mean for it to. And then people are like, so tell me more. And so then, because they asked, I tell them more, and then I'm ghosted. And I'm like, excuse me, you asked me. I didn't try and convert you.
I see what you mean. Yeah, the whole being completely connected with the spiritual is a little bit of a people can't wrap their head around that quite a bit. So I know we haven't really gone into it, but I think there's a lot more that we can go into, both you and I. But we might
That's for another episode.
We don't want to scare people right here. But
that could be a private podcast.
The wokeness is maybe just a little bit sometimes too woke for certain people. Mauritius was an absolute vibe. Remember when I went to this hotel and it was called Tamasa, which actually means party, and they had a club at the hotel.
Yeah, at the hotel.
We at the hotel motel
Holiday Inn. Why the Holiday Inn though?
Why the Holiday Inn?
You're making me think of all the songs today. I love it. It's a party. It's a vibe. It's all the things. Next question: if you could have any superpower, what would it be?
Flying.
Yes, mine is teleportation. Who's your favorite Avenger?
It's Black Panther.
Favorite essential oil or a herb?
Oh my God, you can't do that to me.
I can. Yes, I'm the host, so I can.
Essential oil, lavender.
Okay, top three. Top three, go.
Lavender, rose oil, and bergamot.
Ooh. I like... Well, this isn't even an oil or a herb, not that I think, but I'm thinking cardamom for some reason. So I'm like, cardamom, peppermint, rosemary.
Peppermint is herb.
Peppermint is my all-time fave.
Yes. Favorite
Zimbabwean musician?
You can't do that to me either.
Top three, go.
I have a few. Okay, I really love Hilsey.
You're the second person to say this.
I love Hilsey. You're my destination.
I need to listen. So I confessed to Sibongile in a previous episode. I was like, full confession, I've not listened to him, and she was shocked. And I was like, yeah, you're gonna revoke my Zimbabwean card. And she's like, he is like Zimbabwe's Usher. And I was like, okay, I'll check him out. Okay.
Yeah. So love Hilsey, love Shasha.
Oh, she's dope. I've heard her. See, I'm only learning about people through the Maiden's Way playlist. And I'm picky. Like, I have to listen to the first couple of seconds. And I'll be like, yeah, this beat is dope. I'm listening to the rest.
And I love Natio.
This is why the show exists, so I can educate myself. Favorite Zimbabwean childhood snack?
Makunkels.
I forgot about corn curls. I'm like remembering so much. Someone said froggy chocolate. Someone said the crispy mints. I've had two people say Cerelac. I'm like, what?
Well, that wasn't a snack. That was actually like sustenance. That was baby powers. You'd be there like 5 years old, like eating your little siblings. Cerelac because it was just they. But no, actually, a whole adult, I would go and buy, Cerelac and sit there. But they've changed it now. There's a new version. It just doesn't taste the same.
See,
it doesn't have as many E numbers. That's why.
According to Sibongile, the trick is you have to get the Zimbabwean one, not the South African one.
Oh.
She's got it down. So I'm gonna go by her word. I've never liked it, so it's fine.
Next time I go to Zim, I'm going to just stack up a whole suitcase of them and do it that way. Then that's the best way.
Sweet. So Mazoe orange versus Mazoe green. Kana red, kana pineapple.
Cream soda nai. Versus cream soda. Orange versus cream soda versus cherry plum versus... No, cherry plum is Pauletta. Oh my God, I'm veering off.
Well, answer this one and then I've got a new question to then ask you.
Okay.
So Mazoe orange versus green.
Cream soda, I'm sorry. Cream soda all the way.
You're the first one to say that. Everyone has said orange.
I know. I'm Sagittarius, obviously. I'm gonna be controversial. Go against the grain.
So of the Coca-Colas, of the soft drinks, as like, because I need to translate for our non-Zimbabwean listeners, if I have any.
I even
don't
put
know.
my Zim laugh. You know, at the end we like.
Yes.
It came out just now. I was like, oh.
It's because
that's Zim auntie now.
You're in the midst of family, so it's fine. This is a safe space. My cheeks hurt, Nyasha. Why is this? So, of the soft drink options, my Coca-Cola, which one will you choose? This is no longer a speed round. I'm upset. Anyway.
Pineapple kana cherry plum. One year, no choose one.
Mine is Stony ginger beer.
Oh, yeah, Stony.
Is that your answer?
Pineapple is my answer. Yes. Oh my God, I'm quite good at my American answer.
You are.
I'm learning. Like by the end of this, I'll like literally just be American.
I love it because you're helping my British accent come back, because my American friends get so upset because I actually used to have a radio show, and so they'll listen back to some episodes and they'll be like, "You sounded really British. Can you bring that back?" And I'm like, first I went to acting school and they're like, do American and do the American all the time so it sounds good. And now you want the British back? What do you want from me? I don't know who I am anymore.
Who am I? Person. Right. But that's the thing about us now as Zimbabweans. We are, like I said, I had a Scottish accent at some point, and then I had a Zim accent at some point. I've been in different parts of England, so I've had a Birmingham accent, and then I went to London, and I had a Kingston University, so I had a southwest London accent, and went to law school, and then it became all and
You sound like a Charlie Brown character.
Well, you gotta be posh and highbrow.
Yeah.
You go to law school, you lose whatever twang you had and become posh and highbrow and can't really place where you're coming from, because you're trying to be this person who presents cases to a judge. And then, it's just, that's just who we are now. Renaissance.
Yeah, the Zimbabwean Renaissance, Renaissance, there are two ways to pronounce the word. It's fun. And this whole multicultural world that we're moving towards, I am definitely a global citizen. I advocate for being a global citizen. Anyway, we're still in the speed round, which is no longer a speed round, but it's fine. It's completely fine.
It's an African speed round.
It's African. Yes, it's the slow one. If you weren't the fabulous CEO, head of a whole empire, boss lady mama, what do you think you'd be doing? Dancer would
be the thing. You'd be seeing me as on stage with like the Chris Browns and the Janet Jacksons and so forth. That's me. That is my spirit animal.
That I was listening to Rhythm Nation earlier. That is my shit. Like, I loved Hustlers just because they incorporate. Well, I loved Hustlers because it was a fantastic movie. Everyone go watch it. But if you don't like certain themes, then don't watch it. If you don't watch secular things, don't watch it. But I loved Hustlers. And I loved that incorporated Janet Jackson songs. Who else is more empowering to put in besides her? Like, I can't think of anyone else.
No one.
Yeah, she just works. She works as a soundtrack. Next one is a power statement. You fill out at the end. So I am Zim Excellence because blank.
I am Zim Excellence, and I stand tall because I stand on the backs of those that came before me.
I love that. That's a beautiful reminder of being our ancestors' wildest dreams, our biggest dreams, and never forgetting those before us and those to come. If you could nominate someone for the award of Zim Excellence, who would it be? Living or dead?
Okay, the person that pops straight into my mind right now is actually Shingai Shonewa.
Yes, I love her music so much.
Yeah, I love her vibe. I've met her once or twice actually, but her vibe is just, and everything that she's doing, she's done a bit of acting as well, and sort of bringing that sound and almost becoming a mentor possibly to other musicians to get to that level of, where she was with the noisettes and stuff like that. So I love that she's very sort of down to earth and personable. And I met her at Shades of Beauty, and I remember I was like, yeah, try some of my products. And she's like, okay, sure. I was like, oh, okay, cool. It was when she met my mum, and she was like, Mama! And I was like, y'all know each other? That down to earthness came out, and she's just like, you should be so proud of your daughter and this, that, and the other. But it was just like, wow, like, yeah, like just the whole package.
I can't wait to meet her. I'm putting it out into the universe in this moment. Okay, so if you could nominate someone to come on the show, who would it be?
You have to have the Maiden's Way, Munashe.
I have spoken to Kuda.
Chisa.
I'm saying this. I don't care if you hear this, Kuda. He will say he's replying an email that day, and it will be 5 years later.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
no.
Munashe also sometimes just takes a while. So please know that they have been on my list for a while.
I'm busy, girl. People are booked and busy.
I'm just gonna leave it there. Maiden's Way. Y'all know where to find me. Y'all have my number. We have spoken before. I'm all about supporting you. So it is your move.
It's your go. Okay, if they're not picking up, then speak to Kaz Khalif, who's got a new single out right now with, I don't know if you ever listened to Heartless Crew back in the day.
No, I've never heard of them.
But Heartless Crew were the UK's answer to just garage music. Them and the Dream Team. There was quite a few people who kind of pioneered black music at that time back in the day. And our very own Kaz Khalifa he's from Zim. Sorry, not Kaz Khalifa, Kaz Khalif. He's from Zim. Gosh, it's just gonna be like, really get my name wrong. But he's from BK and Kaz, if you ever listen to BK and Kaz. But he's now teamed up with literally one of like UK royalty in terms of like black music and the black music movement. And he's got a new song called Danger. So there's one person you could probably speak to as well.
That's dope. So here we go. Munasha Chirisa and Kaz Khalif, y'all have officially been nominated to come on Zim Excellence. Shingai Shoniwa, you have officially been nominated for the award of Zim Excellence. Nyasha, thank you so much for coming on today. It has been a party, and I know there are many, many more conversations to be had. And I am so willing to have them. If you'd love to come back anytime, come back as many times as you want. But as we wrap up this episode, I would love it if you could share a message with our listeners. Anything that you've got like on your heart. Doesn't have to be a whole sermon, but like if you have a word, go ahead and share it. And as well as letting our listeners know where they can continue to find your journey and also buy some Silkebee Skincare. This is the downside of the pandemic because we're doing this remotely, which is great because it gives us the access to have this conversation because I'm not going to be in the UK anytime soon. But I would have loved to have the products and to smell the peppermint and the coconut oil and the cocoa butter and the body balm and the baby balms. But take it away, girl. Take it away.
Okay, so my message would be just be kind to others because you just never know when you're entertaining angels. You just never know what people are going through or who they are. So just in anything you do, be kind. Remember that. And where you can find me, first of all, Silkebee is www.silkebee.com. So Silkebee's on there. We're also on Amazon. You can follow us on Instagram, Silkebee Skincare, Facebook. The Twitter handle is just be Silky. And then obviously if you want to see the dance and so forth, that's just Nyasha Mats, Nyasha Mats on Instagram. And that's where you can find me and catch me. Thank you so much for the time.
That is absolutely amazing. We love it. It's a party. All of the resources, whether it's books we mentioned, podcasts, websites, and social media links will be down in the show notes. Again, thank you so much, Nyasha. Again, we have so many more conversations to have. So please come back when you have the time and the energy. As you know, it's a party. We'll be laughing. It's the whole vibe. So thank you so much.
Oh, and obviously we'll try and sort out a discount as well, discount code for those that are in Europe, America, and sort of, Canada. I'm working on trying to get myself to Zim for Silkebee and so forth. But so at the moment, shipping is just UK and everywhere else that allows shipping easily. So,
and it's, again, natural, drink water, natural skincare for the whole family. Go get you some Silkebee. All right, y'all. Have a great day.
Thank y'all so much for coming to the party. Majita tatenda siyabonga. Nah, for real. Thank you so much for tuning in to this week's episode of Zim Excellence. If you found value from this episode, please share it with a friend and go ahead and subscribe, rate, and review. If you send me a screenshot of your review, I'll make sure to give you a shout out on future episodes. Feel free to tag us on Instagram at Zim Excellence Podcast. And if you identify as Zimbabwean, I want to hear your story. So go ahead and email zimexcellencepodcast@gmail.com. Till then, have the best week and stay Zim Excellent.